Hey everybody, Tony D and little Joan here with a hot take. Let's talk about Antifa. Again, I know. You thought they were gone. They weren't exactly gone. What happened was, after the courthouse battle, there was a bit of a powwow between the forces of Trump and the forces of darkness, that is the local Portland commies, otherwise known as their local government, and they came to an understanding. And the understanding was, you're not going to F with the courthouse anymore. And the mayor of Portland, Ted Wheeler, basically sort of came to an understanding that the Antifa guys somehow magically would stop attacking the courthouse, and they would bring in even more cops. So understand that not only did Antifa fail to remove the federal troops, because they're in the courthouse, by the way. They haven't left. Not a single federale has left the scene. They're all still in the courthouse. What they did was they brought in more state cops. I think the governor sent those. And now they're not attacking the courthouse. They've been trying their hand at attacking other places. I believe it was last night they lit a fire in front of the police union, Portland Police Union building, and then broke into it for a second time. I don't know if they managed to light it on fire again. I think they lit it on fire the first time. They also tried their hands at going to the suburbs. And in Seattle, I believe, I think in Seattle, they went to the suburbs and tried to get to the police chief's house, but it was on a private road, and the locals showed up with guns and drove them away. And of course, the Antifa BLM contingent there said, "Oh, we're so peaceful. Why are you pointing guns at us?" And the response was, "That's why you're peaceful." So people are catching on to this, especially in the Oregon and Washington State areas. And so here's my take, and most of this has already been covered by other people like Tim Pool and Andy No. Andy No, by the way, he testified on Capitol Hill about the Antifa riots and all the things that have been going on, to which the Democrats basically just went la 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 la, because they don't want to admit that they've suckered this, and they have, which is one of the reasons they should be punished in 2020. The main reason, quite frankly, that they would succor a group like this, whose number one priority is the collapse of the state. That is their number one priority, because they cannot bring forth a revolution without collapsing the state. And they're foolish for doing that for a number of reasons, but the number one reason they're foolish for doing that is because part of that collapse is to push the government one way or another. If they can't push it right into communism, it's okay. Because if they push it into a police state, a dystopian police state, say run by a dictator named Trump, then everybody else will join the resistance, and then you can overthrow the government much easier that way. So any support for these delusional idiots is wrong and stupid and a bad strategic mover on its face. Yet, the Democrats are so arrogant as to believe that they can use these useful idiots and not suffer any of the fallout from it. They are wrong. The fallout is coming, and mostly here. When Trump talks about the silent majority, that's who's being activated every time some crazy commie does some crazy commie stunt in Portland or elsewhere. The statue thing was particularly heinous. But the latest move by Antifa is to go into the suburbs. And that is just not going well for them. They receive much more resistance. You have to understand the cops have to live somewhere, and most of them live in the suburbs. Also, the Antifa guys live in the suburbs, so it's a bit of a stupid move. But here's my one thing my one kernel of stratagem that I'm adding to this conversation. Eventually, people will do to Antifa what Antifa does to the regular folks. Now, what do? Well, they cancel people. They go after them on a very personal level, at their job, at their place of business. They do everything in their power to destroy you. And they lie about it. What is going to happen is, you'll note, if you've been to Andy No's Twitter feed, and you should really go to it if you have any interest at all in this subject matter, he posts the pictures of Antifa, their mugshots, over and over again. Not the same ones, because there's dozens of these people getting arrested. And they're up on very serious charges, and many of them will do time in federal prison. That's going to be a real problem. Because even if those people get off, their pictures on the internet forever. And they are going to suffer the karmic justice. And I believe in karma. I don't believe in religion, but I do believe in karma. And the karma will be, oh, you're in Antifa? Well, I was a kid. I used to be in Antifa. Yeah, we don't hire extremists here. That's what's going to happen. And you covering it up and trying to skedaddle into a job or into an apartment building, or, doing all the adult things we do, that you lied about other people, to get them kicked out of their homes and businesses and whatnot. Well, see, people won't have to lie to tell them that you're in Antifa. They'll just tell people. And that's not illegal. That's the truth. See, when you were doxing people, that's kind of illegal. It's kind of harassment, especially online. But revealing to someone the truth, that you were in Antifa from a public record, that you got arrested, I hate to tell you, but that is perfectly legal. And that will be the revenge of, I don't know, the regular people, I guess you'd call them. The anti-woke, you woketards, you are going to be essentially doxxed, although I wouldn't use that term. I guess you would be exposed, legally exposed, as a political extremist. And then you will have, like you tried to pressure people to bend the knee, and say that they had, allegiance to Black Lives Matter, or, had white privilege and blah, blah, all that crap you try to make people say and do, and then you cancel them anyway. You're going to have to explain why all your extremist ideology isn't relevant anymore. And good luck doing that, because you'll have to go the other way. You'll have to practically become a Republican to get a job. And you'll need one. I know you think you're bringing in the communist revolution and you'll just live off of UBI and write your angry poetry. Not gonna happen. Not in the U.S. Not anytime soon. Unless you're trying to bring about the days of Judge Dredd, where people live in Mega City 1, Mega City 2, and, live off the government and basically spend all day shooting at each other while the judges come through and shoot the most violent of you. No, that's not going to happen. There are too many people with too much invested in this country. See, in these third world countries, people aren't invested. And that's why the Marxists get in and are able to take over. They're not invested. They don't have anything to lose. They're starving. The countries are run poorly. The United States isn't run poorly. Well, some places. But overall, the system works. The problem with the system is people like guys in Antifa, Marxists, do-gooders, or in quotes, do-gooders, guys who think they're do-gooders, messing around with the system that they know nothing about. And in the end, they will suffer the karmic justice. They will be the ones who will have to explain to a potential employer why They should get that dream job they've always wanted. They work so hard. That was 20 years ago when I went to that riot. I didn't know what I was doing when I threw that firecracker. It turned out to be a much bigger explosion. I didn't realize I was hitting a federal officer with that hammer. All the excuses in the world won't help you. People will just look at you in a different light, and they will see you for what you were. A thug, a guy or girl, or however you identify, as, a political zealot who is willing to scream the nastiest, harshest things at people, to outright lie about them just because you didn't agree with their political beliefs and you were so consumed with your own. Justice is coming.